It was supposed to be a simple drive, a shortcut through a quiet forest to reach her cabin before nightfall. But as Jessica glanced at the glitching GPS in her car, the once promising detour began to feel like a mistake. The forest seemed endless, the road narrowing with every mile. And then there was the sign, "Do not enter after dark." Jessica laughed it off, her tired mind dismissing it as some local prank. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, she couldn't help but notice how thick the trees seemed, how they pressed in on either side, like silent observers. And then, there he was, a man standing by the roadside, waving frantically, holding a gas can. She slowed down. Who wouldn't? He looked desperate, his face shadowed by the dim light. "Thank God," the man said, climbing into her car before she could protest. His name was Jack, and his first words chilled her. "You shouldn't be here, not after dark." Jessica tried to laugh it off, but there was something in his tone, something raw, desperate. He told her about the road, how it never seemed to end, how he'd been driving it for weeks. She brushed it off as nonsense, but then the car radio flicked on by itself. A distorted tune crackled through the speakers, and just as suddenly, the car jolted. She got out, ignoring Jack's warning not to. There was nothing in the road, no sign of an animal or a branch, just endless asphalt. But the forest felt alive. The trees seemed closer now, their branches stretching unnaturally, almost reaching for her. She hurried back to the car. Jack was pale, his voice shaking as he whispered, "It's the forest. It won't let us leave." Jessica scoffed, but the fear in his eyes made her stomach churn. They drove on until the headlights caught something strange, a building in the middle of nowhere, an old, decrepit library.
"A library?" Jessica muttered, pulling over despite Jack's protests. Inside, the air was thick with dust, the shelves lined with ancient, tattered books. Something about it felt wrong. And then she saw it, a book with her name on it. Her hands trembled as she flipped through its pages, reading details of her life, her childhood, her job, even the route she'd taken tonight. On the last page, it read, "Date of disappearance, October 14th, 2025. She grabbed another book. This one had Jack's name. His story was eerily similar. And that's when the whispers began. "Stay with us," they hissed, low and guttural. The shelves shifted, the exits disappearing as the library seemed to come alive.
She turned to Jack, fear twisting her voice. "What is this place? What's happening?" But Jack's face was different now. His eyes gleamed with something unnatural, his voice calm and cold. "You're right," he said. "We were never supposed to make it out." And then his form began to change, his shadow stretching, twisting into something monstrous. Jessica screamed as the library closed in around her. The last thing she saw was her own book on the shelf, its final page now reading, "Her story ends here."
Subscribe for more content.